Hello guys, welcome to Serious Code Lab. In today's lecture, we'll be talking about logical operators. So I want you guys to pay more attention to this and you really enjoy these lectures. So now, this is about mastering logical operators in C++ for smarter code. In order to write a very smart code too, we have to know how to use the logical operators in a very smart way. So now I'll bring you the tools, the the examples of how to use logical operators and the explanations on how we try and bring up to you what is logical operators. So let's go straight to the schemes and having basic schemes for logical operators. And the first one we have here, we have the logical of AND. So what does this AND means, and what does this has to mean? Okay, fine. So this is an operator of AND in logical operators. So what does this operand does? What does it do? So it combines two operators and returns the true only if the condition is true. You guys might be confused of what does that mean. What's returning true, or what is all this? Fine, I'll give you some examples when we get to a very stage when we see the example. So what I want you guys to understand that in a code or in logical operators, there is usually in terms of two operators or two conditions standing, and one must be true and the other must be false, or the two must be false or the two must be true. So but what does this AND practically does? It combines the two conditions. Like I said, it works in a time whereby you have two operators. So now I'm sorry about that. So it combines two conditions and returns the true if the both conditions are true. So if the two conditions, the two comparison values are true, it returns the true. That is if the twos are true, it returns the true. How do we know what is true and what is false? So we'll bring that to you in the next slide. And next slide. So now we have the operators of OR. So this is operators in C++. So this is how OR stand. This is how OR is being signified. So it combines two operators as well, just like the operand. Sorry, it combines two operators and two conditions combine two conditions and returns true if at least one condition is true. And actually returns conditions if the twos are true, but all returns operators if one of the two conditions are true. Like I said, it works in a time whereby two operators has to stand, and one has to be true and the other has to be false, or the two has to be false or the two has to be true. But when we are talking about operators, if one of these two conditions is true, it returns true. But if one of them even if one of them is false, it is returned true. In as much as the operators has value or has a condition of true, it returns true. So now let's go to the next one, which is logical NOT. So this is NOT operators in C++ code. So logical operators in C++ code. So NOT actually stands as this exclamation mark. So it revises the true values of the condition. Example: if a condition is true, it returns false, and if a condition is false, it returns true. It does revisions of an value. It works an opposite towards the value that is given to us by using these operators. We'll understand more about that. So let's try and go to the next one. So now we have uses in condition statement. So why or why do we use these logical operators, or in most cases, in most cases, why is the introduction so important? I mean, why is it important? So commonly used with if statements. We have talked about if statement. It is used to handle conditional statement. So it is used to handle conditional. So now it does that. It works, or I mean, it is mostly used with if statement and while statement. And while statement is actually low, which we haven't really talked about. So we'll be talking about that in the next lecture. And for more statement or or to build complex condition, now when you are actually getting the very state of building more complex condition, you will need the existence or the involvement of, I mean, you will get involved with this operators, which is and operand and or and not. So you'll be using this in most of your code, I mean, cases in any field you are going to. It's very important. So now we have enable flexibility programs, controls of programs are flow based or multiple condition. So it handles a lot, especially in a flow programs, like whereby you have a multiple condition in order to get which is true or which is false, which is very very important. So for you guys to understand more, let's go to the next slide. So now we have some written code I mean some simple code written here. So now we have integer, which is in data type in C++ code. It stores whole number. So but actually we are using this boolean statement, which is false and true. But so which means is that this is going to store the value of, in boolean, when we talked about boolean in the previous lecture, so we said boolean store either true or false, and it's either represent 1 or 0. So now it is an assumption that what is here should be 0, because false is equals to 0, and what should be here too is as well is 0, and what should be here is 1 from our previous lecture, which is boolean. So now let's try to understand what we have here. We have int, which is data type for integers, and we have the variable of a, and we store the value of false there, which is 0, and we store this value here, which is 0. We store the value here, which is 1. So this is a completion of our used or stored variable. I mean, we have stored some data in this variable. So now let's try to understand more about what we have here. So now I have xtd cout in xtd alpha. So I explained this in the previous lecture. So let me try and recap that, if you guys don't understand what that boolean alpha means. So this specifically manipulate the memories of this variable we have here and convert the value to true or false. Norms, we have false, and we have false, and we have false. If this is commented, in the programs, it literally turns these values to 1 and 0. But because we actually manipulate the memory of this boolean alpha, we actually manipulate the memory of this variable, with this specific boolean alpha, this condition we have here, it converts the value we have, stores as zeros as false, and the value we have as false as to true. Example, we have the value of false here, it is supposed to be 1 here if this condition is not here, but norms, it's going to be 0. It's going to be false, and here as well it is false. It's supposed to be 0 here, but because of this condition we have here, it will be false as well as this. And so we have basic for AND operator. Sorry about that. So now we are talking or looking towards AND operators, bringing some example on the combination of that. And now there was a comment here saying sorry about that. So there is a comment here as in a very statement. So we have AND operator. So Evaluate is true when all the operands are true. Example, it converts or it results to true if every condition we have is true. This is a condition here, this is a condition here, this is a condition here. So what does it is that when you use this operand, it returns true if everything is true. I mean, it returns the result as true if everything we have here is true. And in the next comment lines, we have a single false operand can drag an entire operator to false. So example, we have false, false, and true. So what does this mean is that a single false statement can drag every other condition we have to false. So example, if we have two true statements here, we have two false statements here. So if you have two true statements here, and we have one, even though we have thousands, we have 10,000 of true statements here, and we have just one false statement. But if you use this AND operand, everything is going to be false, because in as much as one of the condition is false, it returns false statement. So try and understand what that AND means. So in as much as you are using AND operators, it returns false if one of the condition is in false statement. But if the two statements are true, it returns true. So try and understand what that means. So now we have this statement preset A and B. So if you look at this, false and false. So it said if false, we are trying to use false and false. So false is false, we know that, and the condition is going to be false because the two conditions are false. So it returns false as statement. That is what it's going to do. It's going to return false as statement because one of the the two conditions are false. So in the next slide we have A and C. So A and C mean that false, which is A is false, and C is as well as true. But it will return true statement because one of the condition here is actually false, which is the first one. A is false, so it returns false as the initialized, as the specific value that should be stored here. So it returns false. So if you get to the next one here, which is what we have here. So we have and, sorry about that. So we have there's actually the code is not really broad, and there is no true statement, one true statement here, because of the false statement we only have just one true statement. Anyway, we will explain more about that. So we understand more about that. So now we have A and B and C. So this is automatically false because the two statements in these specific values are actually false. So it returns false in its value, in the value study. But if you have an introduction, let me introduce a new if you have an introduction of a new variable. So let's just give it cd, and cd is equals to true, and cd is equals to true. So let's try and do something here by using this statement we have here. Actually there's supposed to be one true statement in order for you to understand that. So we said C So now I make this up in order to get its true statements because we only have 4 statements in our program here. So now we have CD, we introduce CD and it is true. So now we said C and CD are true. So it returns true in the statement because the two statements there are true. So now we're going to have false. The first one is going to be false, false, true and false. So let's go to the next slide in order to reduce time we have spent here. And we have all operators here, and let's try and include some. I want to include this. Sorry. Oh. Sorry about that. I want to include that so in order to have a very clear picture of what we are actually doing. So now we have all operators. So evaluates to true if one of the operation is equals to true. This is easy, and it is a very easy something for you to wrap up. So example, it tells that if one of these operators is true, it returns true. In as much as there is one true statement, it returns true. So a single operators will push and enter as to true. So a single operators of true we push and enter as true. So one of them, if example, if you have like 10,000 of operators like this, A having like a lot of variable stores having a thousands of true statements, a false statement, and if you have just one true statement, everything will enter as to true because one of the operators is true. So that is how or works. So it says A or B. If A or B is true, if any one of them is true, give it true. If any one of them is true, give it true. If any one of them is true, give it true. But if any one of them is not true, it's going to be false. So now A and B. So if you look at back our code, A and B, they are false. So if A or B are false, so it's going to return false because none of them is true. And A or C is A is false and C is true. Sorry, A is false and C is true. So this is going to be true because A is false and C is true. So it's going to return true as a statement here because one of the operators is true. So if you go to the next slide, next condition here, or next statement here, next printout statement. So we have A or B or C. So definitely it is going to be true because one of these operators is true, which is C. C is definitely true. This is false. This is false. It's going to return true because one of the operators is true. So try and understand what we have commented here in order to understand more about the logical operators. So the last one we have here, we have not. So we actually have three types of logical operation. Three types of logical operators. We have and, we have or, and we have not. So this is not here. And not is evaluates to true if the condition is true. If the condition is false, then so let's try to understand. Evaluates to true if the operand is true, then false if the operand is true. If the condition, if the condition, let me just use condition. So if the condition is true, evaluates to true if the condition is false, and then if the condition is false, it evaluates to true. So it works as an opposite towards the actual value. No, the actual value stored here is false. So because we have not false, what this means that we are telling the compiler that this is not false, so it returns true. So it tells that with this not operator, with this not operator, so it says that not true, so it returns false. Not false. This is actually false statement. So we said not false, so then it returns true. We said not false as well, it returns true. Then the last one we have here, which is C, is true, so it returns false because the value stored here, it is true. So I hope you guys understand what that means. So combining, the compilation of all operators. So let's try to understand what this is going to result to, because we actually combine multiples operators here. I mean, we did the combination of the operators together. So we have we use the O logical operators, we have and, we have or, and we use not. So let's check the result of our conditions. So we have not A and B. So first of all, let's try to understand what we have here, and then let's go back here. So what we have, A and B, they are false, not false. That this is true. Okay, let me try and bring this into your understanding. We have A, it is false in the statement. We have it here. A is actually false, and A is actually false. So A is false and B is false as well. A false and B is false. So we said A and B. So this is literally false, because we are saying A and B. So because the twos, we are using the AND operators, means that the twos are false. I mean, these specifically are false. But this not operators works with the first. Works with the first one we have here, which is these operators we have here. So we said not false, then this is true, or C, which is C is as well as true. So definitely it's going to be true, because even if you use AND operators here, it's going to be true, because we say AND is literally resulting to false, because the first statement is false and the second statement is false. So these are saying that we are actually saying that this is false, and when we include this specific not operators here, so we actually said it is not false, then it is true, because this not operator works as the opposite of the actual value. The actual value here is false, and we are actually working at the opposite value you have here. So I'm going to say not false, then it's true, or C, which is true. So definitely it's going to be true, because the two statements are true. And in fact, this is true and this is true. Even if one of them is true, it returns true, because we are using OR operators. But let's just consider that for the fact that this is an OR operators, and we are saying these two conditions are true, so it returns true. So I hope you guys understand what that means. So let's go to the next slide and try to understand. So let's just give a very brief example of how this works. So we have an AND operators here. So the first value, if the first value you have here is false and the second value you have here is false, it returns to false, because we are using AND operator. Mean we are actually combining the two together. That if we are combining the two operators together to get the actual value we have here. But it works in a way that if the two statements are false, it returns false. If the two statements are true, it returns true. But if one of the statements is false, it returns false. In as much as the value has false statement, it returns false. One of the value must not be false, it returns false. If you have thousands of true statements, even we include some variables to it, it will lead to false in as much as you have one false value here. So they said false and true, so it returns to false because one of the operators here is false. So try to understand that's all about AND operators. So we have the next one, we have OR operators. So we have A and we have B and we have these two combination here. So we have all actually, if the two statements is false, it returns to false. But if one of the statements is true, it returns true. Example we have here is that we have A is false and B is true. So it returns true statement. It returns true statement here because one of the statements here is true. So we have the next one here, we have false, true, and we have false. So the next the value that will be stored here is going to be true because one of the statements here is true. So it's what triggered the memory of this operator is that one of the statements if one of the statements is true, it returns true no matter how many false we have statements. And the next one we have here is true. So we said true, A is true and B is true, so it returns true because or I mean the both values are true. So even if one of them is true, it returns true, but we are saying the two are true, so it's definitely returns true. So that is all about operators. And we have the last one, which is not. Like I said, not actually works as the opposite of the actual value. I mean the reverse of the actual value. We have not false, which actually equals to true, and we have not true, which equals to false. So that is all about this logic operator. So also yes, I've been expecting this. So now we actually did logical and relational combination in operators. So we actually combined, I mean we use logicals and relational combination and combined, I mean combinations, I guess. So we use the operators in C++. So what we have here, we actually introduce the data types of integers in order to have a very good clarity of what these two things can be used in a real-time code. So we actually use, I mean we actually use everything is in real-time code, but it's mostly used specifically with this specific data types, or data types actually as well. But I want you guys to understand that we actually introduce the data types of integer, which is int a. So we store the value of 56, and we have integer here, which is e. We store the value of 50 in a, so 78 is stored in here. So by doing initialize, so now we actually print an end line statement, which is new line, I mean. So it's gonna give a space, I mean, towards the programs we have our previous class, because we're going to be using the two together, towards our last, I mean our previous lines of code. So it's going to divide the line. That's not really important though. So now there's a print out statement saying which relationals are not logical operators in integers. So we're going to be using that. So you're going to be in integers. You know, before we actually use directly boolean. Sorry. So we actually use false and true, but here we are going to be using integers and direct integers in order to get a value here. So don't get confused by what you see on the screen. I'm going to be explaining them one by one. So one, we have D, E, and F. So it gives the actual value directly. So this is going to be this is going to be 56, 20, and 78. So that is the value we have here. So we can detect the true or the false. So the higher numbers is considered as true, and the lower number is considered as false. So that is how this is going to be worked. I mean, that is how this is going to work. So we use both relationals and logical operators in order to achieve our result here. So now let me bring the first line we have here. I mean, the first operators we have here, or statement, I would say. So now we have. So let's try to understand this line by line, or every single cell. Let's try to understand the single cell one by one. So we have D is greater than E. So if you look at this code we have here, D is sorry. So we said D is greater than E. Of course, D is actually greater than E. It equals to true. So this value we have here is true. It's definitely true. So if we should go to this one, but though this is just a printout statement, but if we want to explain that, we can actually use this is the actual result. So it doesn't really matter. So you can explain anymore, because we actually put this in this double quote, which doesn't get argumented or solved by any of the compiler logic. So this is not a logic statement, it is put in a single code. So it's going to be this is just a print out statement. I can use this to explain, and any one of these two to explain. They are the same as well, but the difference is that the compiler sees this as a print out statement and see this as logical operators. So we have D and we have E and L. So we have, it said if D is greater than E, so D is actually greater than E, because D is 56 and E is 20. So this is a truth statement, and D is greater than F. Definitely D is not greater than F. D is 56 and F is 78. This is actually a false statement. So from our previous explanation here, we should know what we're going to get there. This is going to be what we have here is going to be it's going to be false statement, because one of the value here is having a false statement, which is this one here. It's having a false statement. This is having a true statement. So our actual result here, because we put it in a parenthesis here, we actually quoted them in a parenthesis. We quoted everything in a parenthesis, so they are inside the parenthesis. So it is going to give results to false by using this AND operators here. So I'm going to explain this next one here. I won't be explaining everything, so in order to get into our editors, in order to get into our editors. So now we have D is equals to E, and or D is less than F. So let's try to understand that D is not equals to E. D is 56 and A is 20. So this is false actually. Or D is less than F, or D is less than or equals to F. So let's look at D. D is 56 and F is 78. This is going to result to true, because D is 56 and F is 78. Sorry, I misquoted it. D is 70. Sorry, D is 56 and F is 78. So this is going to be result to true, because in as much as D is less than or equals to, in as much it is less than 50, it is less than 56. In as much as D is less than 78, the result is going to be true, because this is a true statement here. So it's going to be, everything we have here is going to result to true statement here, because the first one is actually false and this one is true. But because we use all operators here, we said all operators here, if one of this value is true, it should return true. Sorry, one of these values it should return true. But we have the second one here, we have here, second operator we have here is having true statement, true value. So I said I won't be explaining much. Let me just try and explain the next line here, which we have here. And D, we have D is greater than, D is less than A. So let's look at it. D is less than A. That's false, because D is not less than E. Let's look at it again. D is not less than E, because E is 20 and D is 56. And we are using our operator, so we are saying D is greater than F. D is not even greater than F. F is greater than D. So this is false statement. Both operators are false. This is false. This is false. This is false as well. So the statement here is going to be false. So I won't really explain much. Let me just go down to the last one we have here in order to get things wrapped up. So you can just do that yourself, and in order to get from the explanation, it's something simple you can just do. Also, I'll just explain this last one we have here. So we have not E and D equals to F. So let's try and look at. So not E, which is 20, and D is equals to F. The value of D is equals to F is not. This is going to be false. This is a false statement, because D is not equals to F, but we have the value of not E. So definitely, because we are using these AND operators here to actually wrap this up, because one of this value here is true, so then one of this value here is false, so the value is going to result to false. So thank you very much about that. So let's go to our Visual Studios and wrap. Let's try and make more example of what we have done here. So let me copy this here. So refresh. So I'm trying to open my my Visual Studio from the command prompt here. So I will just drag this and drop it here. Drag this and drop it here. or you can actually copy the link. You can go inside here. But what I did was that I copied the template here, the template of our programs here. So then it's inside of it this way. So what what you can actually do is that you can click on this part here. You can just highlight it and copy this part, and you can clear this up if you want to. So just to give a very manual way how I get that stuff. So now this is very simple way for you to understand. So what's going on? Okay, no bad. So just click enter key, it goes inside the folder. How do we know? We just press dir, so it shows that we are inside the folder. This is exactly what we are inside the folder here. So now we can just press code and to open our Visual Studio. So it's going to open our Visual Studio for us. So I'm going to copy what we have here in order to have a very fast program. Sorry. So let's try and minimize this, and we have double windows opening. I'm going to close this one we have here. I'm going to open this, and I'm going to close. I'm going to mean this one here. So fine, I'm not sure you guys can see my screen very well, so I kind of zoom it. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to clear this off because it's just a template for us. I'm going to clear this off, and I actually copied what I have in my program, so I paste it here. So to make a very fast program code in. So now this is a very good one, and no error, that's fine. So now let's try and understand what we have here. So now we have this first one here is an AND operator. So okay, let's try and run this code. I think we have explained that, no need of really explaining much. So let's try and run this code we have here by this. So while that stuff is loading, I know it's going to take some time, so though it's not really fast just because I'm using a very low processor, I mean make it slow. So now I'm gonna build the code with this compiler here, which is GCC. So I'm gonna click on this, and I'll go back to my visual my PowerPoint editor. So will copy what I have here in as much as I will be using that in the next processing. So I can just zoom this thing off, or I can just move it at the right side of the panel. So this is just the this is the bottom, so let me just move it to the right side, so it's gonna be here, and I'm gonna paste that what I copied here, what I copied recently, I mean. So this is gonna be operators. So so not much. So it should actually result to what we actually get from our so this shouldn't be hard for us to understand. It's so simple. Here is going to be false, false, and true. Though we didn't print this, I used this to explain AND operator because everything was false until actually I noticed that one of these condition has to be true, and I introduced the CD operators, which is true here. Okay, so let's try and get okay, fine, it has complied, and we can just click on this part here and view and go to terminal. So we open back our terminals and we type our binary code name, which is this one here. It generates our binary, so we're going to type this outside. So before we do that, I mean, we're going to type /. So let me close this back. So we're going to type /. Sorry, I typed it several times. So /, encode and lab and exco. So we're going to type enter. So it should review our code for us. Oh good, oh good, oh good, oh good. Something is wrong actually. But I didn't expect this should be 0s and 1. This should be 0s and 1. But anyway, I love the way it is 0s and 1 because norms. Okay. Okay, this is 0s and 1. Yeah, it's zeros and one, but okay, fine. The value we have here is zeros and ones until the involvement of this one involved, and it's manipulate the memory by using this parentheses here. It's manipulate the memory and stores the actual value we actually have here. So by using this parentheses here, it stores it. So there we only have open statement which have 0 0 1. So I told you before that if you use false, it results to 0, and true results to 1. So that's what we have here. So we actually have an operator. We have false, false, true, and false, as we have mentioned, as we have explained in our code. So we can look it through yourself and see how we get false, how we get this answer. But I've actually explained that, so I don't really need to talk more about that again. And if you want me to see about that, okay, let me just try and explain a little. So this is false and this is true. I mean, this is false and this is false. So false and false results to false, which is here by using these AND operators. So if the two operators are false, it returns to false, or if it is more than 2. But in as much as the operators are false, it returns to false. Here it said A and C. A and C. A is false and C is true. So it returns to false. Like I said, in as much as one of the statements is false, it returns to false. So that's what we have here. So next one here we have two statements here. We have two. So we have C and CD, which is this one here and this one here. So it returns to true. And the last one we have everything, the combination of everything. Even if we include this one here, everything is going to include to false, because one of the statements here is false, which is A is false and B is false. So that is all about that. And what else do you have here? Sorry, there's already so okay, good. So now let's look at this as well, all operators. So let's try and run it, and let's try and run everything all together. Sorry. So let's do this as well. So that's let's try and explain. Let's try and get what we have here. So all operators works like if any one of these true is true, it returns to true. So but A is false, B is false, it returns false because the twos are false. As well, sorry, it's complying. So A is false and C is true, so it returns to true because this statement is true. A is false, B is false, C is true, it returns to true because one of the statements is true, so it returns to true. So I hope you guys understand that. And what this is going to be opposite of what is here. So we're going to be having true, true, and false, because A is false in our value here. A is false, B is false, and C is true. So that is all about that. And like we actually taught here, he said this is, and A and B is false, not false. This is said not false, or C. Or what is C? C is actually untrue. So this statement, two statements here are true. So this is going to result to truth. Sorry, why is this taking so time? Or let me try and renown that again. So let me run it again. Terminates. So it's taking time. It shouldn't take that much time. So now so let's try and understand this before we go to the combination of relationals and logical operators, so we can understand that more. Or let's try and give it more time to comply. So by waiting for this, let's go to this part here and have what we have here, copy what we have here. So Okay, it's built successfully in terminal. So just dot and slash code lab, and then that's the name of our binary. So enter key. So good. So we have, okay, actually we didn't divide this line, so it's everything was piled up together. So now we have also the two statement here is false, because A is false and B is false as well, so it's false. So one of the statements is true, which is C, so it returns true. So the next one here, one of the statements is true, which is C, it returns true as well. So that is all about that. And the last one we have here, we have it returns at the opposite direction, opposite of what is given here. So the value we have here is false, false, true. So it returns true here, it returns true here, and returns false here. So this is what is happening here: true, true, and false. So it works as the reverse of the actual value we have stored in it here. So the actual value we have here is was true. I mean, it was false, but here we haven't true, because we are using the not operators here. So the actual value we have here is false and it's true. Also we are using not here. So I hope you guys understand what I mean. So let's try and gain more understanding by using in relationals and logical operators. So let's try and do that together. So before we do that, I'm gonna be dividing this line in order to escape that mentality that we're gonna talk together. Separate. So now this is good one. So we have the A and F, so not bad. So why is this pinging? Okay, fine. So now we have 56, 20, and 78. So we had to print. Okay, we have actually print n9 here, so not bad. So okay, what I want you guys to understand is that now this is going to be integer. This is going to be integer. It's going to give us the actual value we have here. We're going to be having 56. We're going to be having A, and we're going to be having this. But what is going to be happening is that this is going to be 1 and 0, because we actually removed. Okay, we didn't really remove it because it's actually still here. In as much as we declare it here, it won't, because it goes throughout our whole programs until we actually put this specific statement here. It ends it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, you know, this is true and false. But if we actually put yesterday say out yesterday no sorry for the alpha, this is going to result to true and false, because if we should include these lines of code, which is nobody alpha, I mean, we shouldn't do true and false anymore. So it's going to return everything we have here, so 1 and 0. But in as much as we have it in as much as we declare it in this part here, so every program is going to have in further it's going to be 1 and 0, and so it's going to be true and false in it. It's going to be true and false, but if I should include this here, it's going to result to 1 and 0. But I won't do that, or let me just comment it out. Let me comment it. I won't really do that. So now, before we get our answer, let's try and summarize what we have here. So or let's try and get our answers, and I'll try and summarize what we have here. So I'll close this and we run that again. So this is it. So I hope this is not too bad for you to wrap up in the brain. So we have A is greater than D is greater than A, and D is greater than L. So we have to look towards our integers here. So we have 56, 20, and 78. Here is D is greater than E. D is greater. This is a true statement, and this is a false statement. So it returns to false. This is a true statement, because we are using the operators of and, it returns to false. So equals to or if D is equals to E, D is not equals to, this is a false statement. So this is a true statement because D is less than F. So 56 is less than 78 or equals to, I mean less than or equals to. So it's gonna be true. It's gonna be true because one of the statements is true. So let's try and look it up and let's check what we have here. Oh, sorry, it's gonna be few. Time me now. So okay, good. So now we have our result here popped out, clean and identified. So now we have the first one we have here is gonna be false. I said false because the statement, one of the statements here is false, here is false, and here is true. I mean, sorry, the first one here is true and the second one here is false. So it returns to false, and one of the statements here is true. This is false statement, this is true statement, it returns to true. And the next one here we have what do we have next here? We have if D is less than E, D is less than E, so D is less than E. So this is a true statement. D is actually less than E because 56 is actually less than 78. So D is less than E. D is less than E. So this is a true statement. Or so we said, I mean, so we now said or if D is greater than E, D is greater than E as well. This is a true statement. I mean, sorry, if D is less than E, I'm coming. So D is less than E. So D is actually less than E. So D is not less than E. D is greater than E. D. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Convulsive. So D is less than E as, yeah, true. D is 56 and E is 20. Is less than E. When I said or D is greater than F. D is, oh, sorry about that. D is greater than F. D is not greater than F. D is actually 56 and F is actually 78. But we said or operator, with the or operators it should return true. D is greater than F. D is less than E. Okay, fine. There is actually some kind of convulsive error here. So what I want you guys to understand that D is actually 56 and E is actually 20. So definitely D is greater than E, but we're saying if D is less than E, which is actually false. This is actually a false statement here because D, I mean, because E is not greater than F and D, because D here is actually greater than E. So here is the false statement. Relax, sorry. This statement here is false. I mean, sorry, this statement here is greater, but E is lesser. So we said if D is less than E. D is not less than E because D is greater than E. So it's actually a false statement we have here, and we said this is going to be D or D is greater than F. D is greater than F. This is a false statement because D is not greater than F. So this is going to be false statement. So that's why we have false here, and as much as this as well, F is greater than E. F is greater than E, so that's true. And here as well, F is less than D. F is less than D. This is a false statement. So here is going to result to true because the statement we have here is true. So it's going to be true. And next one we have here said if D is greater than F, D is greater than F. Not true. This is a false statement. And if F is less than or equals to D, F is not less than E. This is a false statement as well. So this is a false, and this is a false statement. So by using this AND operator, our result is going to be false. So which is here. And let's just use this very good example here. So now let's just say D this 56 and E is 20. So if D, which is 56, is greater than E, this is a true statement here. And the next one we have here, we said if D is less than F, D is actually less than F because F is actually 78. So this is also a true statement. True statement, true statement. So that's why it's giving us true statement by using these AND operators. So the last one we have here, which is not E, is and D is equals to E. First of all, here we have looking at this error code here. This is a sorry, what I say. So this is a false statement because the twos are not equals to. D and F, E are not equals to. They are not an equal value. So this is a false. By using this AND operator, so not. So this is going to be also false. That's everything about logical operators. So I hope you guys understand that. So that is everything I will have to bring about logical operations here. So we even introduced the value of we introduced the logical relational and logical operators. So let me try and bring comment this and let's run this in order to show you that whenever we have this no comment booleans alpha, everything here which is also true, 1 and 0. So the really effect of how this thing turns to false and true statement is with the help of this body alpha here. So we actually unused it by using by calling up this code here. We actually unused body alpha, which means that we are converting this to 1 and 0 back because we actually include this here. So now let's try and bring this to our hand. So nice. And terminal. So let me have my terminal back down bottom. I prefer it at the bottom so we're able to see everything we have here. So I prefer at that side as well. Sometimes I don't know how I feel about that. So good. So you see, notice that is 1 and 0 now. 1 and 0. 1 0 1 0 1 1 because we involved this body alpha, which is that we unuse the value. We unuse this specific functions we have here. So we unused it in this place here. So that's everything I wish to teach you about logical operation. So I hope you enjoyed this specific lecture. So we meet in the next lecture. In our next lesson or lectures. So bye.